And today, guess where the Prime Minister of, and he had to enter, not the front doors, but at the back door of the Parliament. And ladies and gentlemen, my Australian friends, that happens throughout the world. Whenever the leaders of this regime was try to visit another country, they face this kind of protest, they face this kind of truth, and they don't dare to face the truth. And embarrassingly, the Prime Minister of Vietnam, of Socialist Republic of Vietnam, always had to go by the back door. And I got a news for you. Today, he's supposed to go at this entrance with the red carpet. Guess where he just been in? He was driven to the back doors again, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, what a shame, shame, shame. Shame, shame, shame. What a Prime Minister of a country would visit Victoria and meeting with the Premier of either back doors. What kind of Prime Minister is that? What kind of shame is that? But that is the truth. When human rights abuser, they are a bit like, creature of the night. They never dare to go by the daylight. And they always go by the back door, dark alleys. Doesn't matter whether they the president of that country or they are prime ministers. And yet today, once again, my friends, a Prime Minister of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam has been in this building, but he didn't dare to face his people, his so-called people, đồng bào in our language. He didn't dare to face the truth, because these are the truths of Vietnam. Well, let me start my address on behalf of our people here to the Australian people who gathering here wonder what's going on. My dear Australian countrymen and women, for most foreign prime minister visits, it's an honor for Australia as a country to welcome them. But for the visit of the Vietnamese Prime Minister of the so-called Socialist Republic of Vietnam, Nguyen Thanh Dung, by the way, it's interesting. If you read our leaflets that given to you, you read the records of human rights abuse in Vietnam, you would not help, pardon my language. My mom never allowed me to say this word, shit. Shit, what kind of going on in Vietnam today? If you read that, you didn't realize that there are hundreds and thousands of them imprisoned because of their human rights advocacy and demands. Then you would say, shit, what's going on? But today, that's exactly the name of our Prime Minister of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. His name is Nguyen Thanh Dung. Actually, Nguyen Thanh Dung, D-U-N-G, that's his name. And if translated into English, that's exactly what it is, shit. So, today is a shit visit. Today is a shameful visit. And it's a shameful visit because Nguyen Thanh Dung or Nguyen Thanh Dung represent a human rights oppressive regime, one of the worst in the world today, according to the Amnesty International. It's a shameful visit, my friends, because Nguyen Thanh Dung comes to Australia seeking further trade and aid from Australia, while his regime and the communist government of Vietnam continue to steal monies from foreign aid and trade to benefit themselves, not the people of Vietnam, not the poor people of Vietnam, but for to themselves, their party members and their families. It's a shameful visit of Nguyen Thanh Dung, the Prime Minister of the Communist Vietnam regime, because his regime continues to arrest, put in jail, torture and harass countless human rights activists, democracy advocates, churches leaders and political dissidents in Vietnam. It's a shameful visit because Nguyen Thanh Dung government continues to put under house arrest the most venerable Taekwondo, the Patriarch of the United Buddhist Church of Vietnam. This is a 2,000 years old church, which officially banned by Nguyen Thanh Dang's government from practicing their faith. Dear Australian friends, it's a shameful visit because Nguyen Thanh Dang, the Prime Minister of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, visiting Melbourne today, because prior to his visit to Australia and to Melbourne, he refused to acknowledge the right of the Roman Catholic Church and its parishioners of Thai Ha. I will tell you a bit about Thai Ha later. Who to protest against the illegal confiscation of the church properties and lands by his government. Freedom! Democracy! Democracy! Freedom! Human rights! Have you ever seen a prime minister of a country, that yesterday at our Australian Parliament, yesterday in Canberra, 1,500 of his so-called people, instead of welcoming him to the country, to Australia, they demonstrate against him. While the Prime Minister of Australia, Kevin Rudd, was with him in front of the Parliament, there was thousands of Vietnamese there with these flags, with these placards calling for freedom for Vietnam, democracy for Vietnam, and human rights for Vietnam. Nothing is more embarrassing than that. But freedom!